gentlemen, you're welcome to this discussion. It's a political discussion we'll be having today. My name is Dr. Emezie Mado. With me here in the studio that will handle this discussion, we have with me here.
I am Ifi Chris Wang.
And?
One of the Sylvester Research.
Okay. So we want to look at the political terrain in Anambra State. Already we know that this 2021 is all about governorship election in Anambra State. You know, most of the political parties had their primaries, that was June, right? Yes, you know, PDP, ABGA, APC, Zenith Party, a whole lot of them, you know, and by November 6th, that's the D-Day, we'll be having the governorship election. So I want to ask us, what do you think about the political situation in Anambra State? Now maybe we'll start from you.
Okay, thank you for that question. I think the political situation in Anambra, as we speak now, is highly tensed because of the outcome of the primaries by political parties. As we speak now, there's no political party that has an authentic candidate because each one of them has produced two candidates, or three or four. For instance, APGA, they have about 4 candidates, PDP, 2 candidates, then APC, their own has been cancelled. Because of this, people are being flabbergasted because they don't know what the outcome will look like because this is what they have been looking out for. And another election is a very special election. It's like a yardstick to the general election. I mean, Nigerian election, because all eyes are on Anambra as we speak now. And people of Anambra are looking forward to seeing a viable candidate that will come in and better the laws of the people of Anambra State. So as we speak now, the political tension is highly tense, and by the look of things, it looks like a new party will take over Anambra State because the 3 major political parties we know are having issues, a lot of court cases, you know, because they don't have an authentic candidate for now.
If what do you think?
Well, the political state in Anambra State, like he has already said, is highly tensed. And tensed because I want to take it from the perspectives of the masses. They have lost, in fact, we have lost confidence in our politicians and in our political parties. Even the ones we thought we had some kind of confidence in, all of them have just failed us. And myself, I'm looking at Anambra State as a political giant of this country, you know, considering the kind of politicians that we have in Anambra State. And honestly, this year I was hoping to see a better political
engagement,
you know, especially in our primaries. But honestly, even the ruling party in the state gave us the highest disappointment. So I want to honestly say that our political parties have failed us, our politicians have failed us, and the masses, the people, and umbrellas in Anambra in general, we have lost confidence in all of this. That is just,
you know, in PDP, it was a horrible situation. Let me use that expression. You know, PDP, they had statutory delegates and ad hoc delegates. For the ad hoc, people went to their various wards and contested and won, spent money, and the rest of them. 24 hours to the primary. People started getting information about super delegates, what? People collapsed and died in the process, you know, the poor masses that would have made some good money. And, you know, that's the sunny side of it, or the funny side of it. Then, instead, the bourgeoisie class that have always been there, the political class, those are called the aristocrats. that have continued to suck blood from the poor masses, they were the ones that benefited. And the day of election, you won't see them. They were the ones that benefited and they did whatever they liked. And it was a selection process and not election. What we witnessed, some of us were there and saw what happened and the rest of them. So you see people now complaining bitterly. They are losing hold. The political parties, the major political parties in Anambra State, they are losing hold of the masses now that they don't even know what to do because the aspirants that would have been the candidates were denied for one reason or the other, flimsy reasons and the rest of them. But the voters, the electorates, they know who they want. They will better the lot of the masses, and that is where the problem is. So sometimes I begin to think that the democracy we're talking about, is just a mirage. We are still far from it. That's just the way I see what is happening in Anambra State. And at the end of the day, a wrong person may be hoisted, on a state, and people will continue to suffer. Because when you look at Anambra State, that is a glorified, community as far as I'm concerned. Somebody like me, I had my secondary school briefly in Oka here, secondary school, years ago. Nothing has really changed. I've been having governors after governors and the rest of them. You go to Ebonyi State, come on, you discover that the governor is doing a lot. And that is what we want in Anambra State. And that is why we've seen a lot of people with evidence of what they have done and the rest of them coming into politics in Anambra State that would have changed the situation, turned the clock the other way, but frustrations everywhere. And that is where I get into the next question. What do we do about godfatherism in Nigeria vis-a-vis Anambra State? Let's focus on Anambra State. Because these questions, these problems are stemming from godfatherism. So what do you think?
Godfatherism, I think it has never done any good to us. Rather, it has done more harm than good to us. Let me use what happened in 2003, for instance, when Ngige was elected. And okay, from 1999, Mbadinuju, he was elected in 1999, but those who brought him into power are too many that he had to, he has to always finance and fund them because that's the agreement anyway. And he made him to look like he doesn't know what he was doing, because for 1 year students were out of school because he was trying to take care of those who brought him into power, and that messed up his administration. That's the reason why he didn't return back in 2003. Then he came in and we saw what happened by his godfather, because for the first time in the history of Nigeria, a sitting governor was kidnapped by his godfather. And again, at that point in time, the issue of godfatherism was taken care of because he stood on his ground and fought the godfather. So I think godfatherism in Nigerian politics is devilish, because the masses will be the one at the receiving end, because they say that when two elephants are fighting the grasses, we suffer it. So I will personally, discourage godfatherism, because it will never do us any good. It's a very bad kind of politics. Thank you.
No, Ify, do you buy the same idea?
Of course, every rational human being would buy that. Because, I always want to take a problem from the genesis. You understand? You see, this godfatherism is because our people have deviated from politics, from what politics is really all about. Politics is supposed to be people's oriented. Every government should aim at giving the people a better life. Right. But if you look at what is happening now, you see that what we have are business people into politics. Whatever they have today is business oriented, interest oriented. It is no longer the masses oriented. Their aim is no longer to better the life of the masses.
It's a selfish one.
It is a selfish one. And that is why you see one man sit at the comfort of his home and you are fielding a person, somebody you don't even know. You don't care what that person is going to give the masses tomorrow. All you care is that this person is going to be returning something back to you. What is that person going to be returning to you? The money of the state, what he would use to better the life of the people. What he would, like he said during the life of Odera, I was in secondary school then, and we were at home. For one good year, I knew what happened that time. So many people, so many school children went into all sorts of rubbish because of the interest of one single man. And I want to say, it started from above. And if we want to take care of it, we have to get to the above. Because our electoral body, INEC, is involved. If they are not involved, they know what to do. Federal government is involved. If they are not involved, they know what to do. You rightly said during your intro that the man that won the primaries of APC went to see the president, and the president did not do this or that. During the time of Tony Moye, I don't know if any of you were in Alexei Kweme when our president came. You see what played between him and Tony Moye. You see, we see these things. We know what is happening. We know how to solve it. We claim not to know, and we keep suffering. So it is high time. I also blame the populace, the masses, because we sell our vote to them. We are the one who, in fact, you see this godfatherism, it starts from the masses. The masses are the worst financiers of godfatherism.
But they will tell you because, by the time they win election, they will forget them. So what they see at that very moment, they want to grab it.
You see, it's high time we started changing our mentality. It's high time we started changing our mentality in this country. And that's why I will always talk about orientation. We need to reorient our people. Tell our people, tell the electorates what they need to know. INEC that is the primary responsibility of INEC. But you find out that what they do today is just collecting money from people to buy this form or that form. INEC no longer educates the public. Before every election holds, it is the primary responsibility of INEC to educate the people on what to do and what not to do through the media and other platforms. But now what is happening? There is no way we can get at these godfathers if we do not get at ourselves. You are the first person to get at yourself. I am the first person to get at myself, likewise every other person. If we are able to get it right from ourselves, until we are able to get it right, until we are able to give this orientation to our people, educate the masses, and let them know what they are supposed to do. Because you see, this power, it belongs to the people. But this time around, people buy it from us. Intelligently. Cleverly.
Intelligently, yeah.
Do you understand? So what we need to do, whenever I talk about this godfatherism, I used to tell people that what we need to do is get back to the people. Tell the people the right thing to do, and when the people get the right thing to do from here and start applying it, you see that we spoil the business of the godfathers.
Yeah.
Can I chip in?
Oh, yeah, sure.
This issue of godfatherism, I meant to disagree with you when you say that the masses are also contributing to that factor. No, because over the years, the masses are disappointed. Our government have been disappointing the people because they have failed to live up to their expectation. Do you understand? Because the essence of government is to provide for the people, or to do for the people what the people cannot do for themselves. If government can provide jobs and create a job opportunity, the people will not be will not have that conscience or that mind to say they are good. Do you understand? The issue of godfatherism is centered on the political bourgeoisie. Do you understand? Because if I don't have money, I can't be a godfather, for instance. Do you understand? But the whole thing is that they have failed to follow the constitution. For instance, chapter 2 of 999 constitution stated that the government should provide free education, for instance. Government should do a lot of things for the people when it comes to social welfare. But those things are not being provided for. So what do you expect a hungry man during an election to do? Of course, he will buy his conscience because he's hungry and his family is hungry too. So the problem is not the masses. I mean, the problem of God for is not the masses. Rather, the problem is the political stakeholders, the political bourgeoisie. Because they have seen politics as an avenue to make money, an avenue
Because we help them do that. Because we pave way for them to do that. Let me ask you a question, please. Okay. How much can I pay you to buy your certificate?
No, you can't.
How much can I pay you to buy your life?
You can't.
Because you hold them dear to you.
Yes.
You cannot sell them for any reason, for any amount. If we hold our voting rights so dear, that's what I believe. That's my theory of this God federalism. If the populace, if the masses can hold their voting rights so dear to them like you're holding your certificate and your life, you cannot sell these two for anything. If we decide that we cannot sell our vote for anything, I still see hungry men around.
But do you know that our people, Nigerian people, have lost hope in election process because they believe that their vote will never count.
That's why I talked about INEC coming in.
Even INEC is being maneuvered by the stakeholders, by the ruling class, by the bourgeoisie. Because okay, what do you expect an INEC chairman who is being appointed by the president to do, for instance? For instance, a Nigerian president or the president should not appoint the INEC chairman or the INEC national commissioners. There should be an independent body that will take care of this appointment. Because if the president appoints an INEC chairman, the president will dictate what the INEC chairman will do. So the problem here, just like you say, is from the root. The constitution is not functioning, or the constitution is not being followed. And as far as I'm concerned, that constitution is a military constitution imposed on us. So we have to do a lot of work on Nigerian constitution.
The last election, before this last governorship election, I was at voting center in my area. You know, I saw voters shivering, fighting, struggling to collect peanuts. 500 naira. I spoke to a particular man, I'm just seeing the picture. I said, sir, can't you vote for somebody here who will be a good governor? Things will change your family and the rest of them. He said to me, look, boy, I'm hungry. If I should get that 500 naira now and get into that market here, buy one or two things so that his family will eat. Are you getting me? Honestly, I didn't know. I was dumbfounded. But you see, just because of that, one wouldn't conclude that the problem is from the poor masses. Or the other way, I think we have both of them to blame in this situation. But there are people that will be in that same situation like the man, and they won't behave like him. It's a thing of the mind, you know, education, reorientation, as we've all been talking about, you know. And of course, we should hold our, you know what do you call them now? Those who've been elected to represent us, we put them accountable. When they're talking about recalling senators and House of Rep members and the rest of them, I don't know, people don't take it serious. So at the end of the day, they see the masses as, you know, people that can play ping pong. They play with the masses. They dole out money and the rest of them. For example, you discover that when we're getting into election year and the rest of them, some people become what I call accidental philanthropists and the rest of them. They start going out to buy corn, the masses and the rest of them. Once they win election, they change their phone numbers and the rest of them. Why don't we go for the best? And that is when you see people running away from politics. And that takes me to the next question, where we call it a day. They say politics is a dirty game. Is politics actually a dirty game with you?
Well, politics in its original state is not a dirty game. No, it is not. Politics is a process through which we get people into power to represent us, because all of us cannot go to the House of Assembly, all of us cannot go to the Senate, we cannot go to the State House. We need representatives. And politics takes us to the process through which we select these people. When you find out that today it is no longer what it used to be, and that's why people call it dirty game. like what you rightly say, see what played out in the primaries of the whole of the political parties. Honestly, do you know, at times I sit down and I ask myself, where are we going? So as it is now, politics is a very dirty game. And that is because our politicians are corrupt. And that is because the masses, because of difficulties, because of hunger, because of unemployment, because the government are not giving them what they expected. Like you rightly said, what do you expect a hungry man to do? He can afford to collect 500 naira and sell his food.
Yes, see, I see politics not really as a dirty game. Politics is a mirror of the society. Are you getting me now? The way politics is being played in the Western world is not the exact thing here. I know some of you punctual it, that there's always manipulations here and there and the rest of it.
Because look at what happens during the elections.
Yeah, the last presidential election in the United States and the rest of them. But at the same time, you still see that they have a human face there. That is the way I look at it. The what we should do is to handle corruption in its entirety. If we handle corruption in its entirety, the political terrain will look better. Because when you talk about even in public service, is a whole lot of mess, So the universities, how they take the VCs, the lecturers, non-academic staff, you go to the police and the military and whatever, you discover that people from particular geographical zone have taken over every position and the rest of them. So, let me tell you, Nigeria is in a mess. I wouldn't suggest what late Rollins did in Ghana. I wouldn't suggest that. But I think some people should give way. And that is where we will now talk about political education, reorientating the minds of the populace. We have to stand and defend our rights, defend our votes. Someone who is messing up, who has a very terrible background, who is a known thief and the rest of them, should not be allowed to handle a sensitive position, a position of trust. We should start from that. We should start questioning, the people we're electing into public posts and the rest of them. In some areas, in some countries or rather, there are things you do, you'll be executed, summarily and the rest of them. You discover things are getting better there. They said, which country did they say that picked, is it palm kernel and whatever from us, the Asian tigers, Malaysia and the rest of them, and today, look at what is happening. We send, what do you call it now, we source this out to Ghana and the rest of them, electricity and whatever. The first time I traveled to Ghana, that was the first time I experienced steady power supply. It's back as 2005. So all through 2 weeks I stayed in Accra, Ghana, man, I enjoyed myself. So that was the first time I experienced it. So, you see, some of them are little countries. They've been able to put themselves together. Some big countries you can compare to Nigeria and the rest of them. You see that they're even trying to get better than the rest of them. Do you talk about the educational system? You see somebody who is so intelligent will be frustrated. Qualification-wise, promotion and the rest of them, somebody will be sitting on your fat because greased in spams and whatever as they used to say and the rest of them. So, as far as I'm concerned, politics is not a dirty game. But the society itself is dirty. That's what I think, yes.
Whether politics is a dirty game or not, as a political scientist, I beg to disagree that politics is a dirty game. Because if you have a dirty cloth, I don't think you can put it on and go out. So, politics is a method, an activity that is associated with running a government, an organization, or movement. Politics is a way of electing people that will represent us in the government. Just like my co-discussant rightly said that everybody can be in government, so you have to have a representative. Politics, for instance in Nigeria, until we begin to send corrupt politicians to jail, Nigerian politics will remain where it is. For instance, in South Africa, Jacob Zuma, the former president of South Africa, Jacob Zuma, is in prison now, cooling. But such a thing has never happened in Nigeria. Despite evidences we have to send one or two to jail, politics is a dirty game because we have a lot of political assassinations. For instance, Bolige, the former minister of, I think, power, was murdered in cold blood, even as a serving minister. We have Funshaw Williams. We have a lot of them who were murdered, and because of politics. So we turn out to make it a dirty game. Today in Nigeria, politics is very fetish. People use African magic to get whatever thing they want to get. The former governor of Anambra said was reportedly taken to a shrine to swear an oath, or in the name of politics. So Nigerian kind of politics is dirty because of the way politicians have taken it to be. But politics is not a dirty game. Politics is a very beautiful game if we play by the rules and regulations. Because there is a laid down rules and regulation for politics. And politics is people oriented. Because sovereignty belongs to the people. That is, power belongs to the people. It's not the other way around. But by the way things are, it looks like power belongs to the ruling class or to the politicians. Mm-hmm. So I will conclude by saying that if we must get it right, if we must say that politics is not a dirty game, there are a lot of things we have to do. We have to change our mindset. We have to change the way we see politics. So we have to change our mindset, especially the politicians. They shouldn't see politics as an avenue to make money. Rather, it should be an avenue to serve the people, to do for the people what the people cannot do for themselves. Because looking at Nigeria today, we are disappointed. Nigerians are disappointed because our leaders have failed. According to Chinua Achebe, the problem of Nigeria is leadership. So it has been a leadership problem. And it's not about age, whether the person is 100 or 200 or a year. But if the person has the leadership qualities, things will get right. And people will enjoy the fact that they have a good leader. Thank you.
On a final note.
Well, I want to recommend that we start from our constitution, because as far as I am concerned, we don't have a working constitution in this country. What we have is a military constitution that has been imposed on us, and it's no longer working. Like I said before now, we should have a laid down rules and regulations about how we conduct our elections and follow them well. Then we should also have a way of jailing these our politicians that are not above the law. No one should be above the law, because I believe that if we have a way of punishing them, in fact jailing them, not punishing them, let the law play out on our politicians when they fail. And then INEC needs to live up to their expectations. Like I said before, the primary responsibility of INEC is to educate our people about their voting rights and election. Their number one role is to educate the mass, so they should do that before election comes. And then our people, the masses, we have a lot of things to do. We have to change our mindset. We have to change our mentality about politics. This politics, our vote is like our life. If you hold it there to yourself, you know that, like, Anambra election is coming now. Whomever I am voting tomorrow during this Anambra election, I am just telling that person, take my life till the next 4 years. So when you are giving out your life, you should make sure that you're giving out your life to somebody who can hold it there. Yeah. So our people, we need to change our mindset.
That's a good one. You can see as we come to the end of this discussion, so INEC has some jobs to do. The people, they also do some jobs. Leadership challenge is also there. So it boils down to one thing: all hands should be on deck to get things better in Nigeria. And in Anambra State, this election, we just have to get it right. Because when you get it right, Anambra is number one. When you come to the eastern states, the southern states, when Anambra gets it well, Nigeria will get it well. So we need to get a good governor in Anambra State who will change things for the better, and will use it as a masterpiece for the next election in Nigeria, the presidential election. That is what we need. And of course, we talked about this godfatherism, you know, a whole lot of things they've been mixing up here and there, the so-called godfathers, and that is a problem we are having. It's a big problem. You know, they tend to cage the people, and people will not vote for somebody who will work for them. That is what godfathers have ended up doing, even in Anambra State, and it shouldn't be. That's why people are feeling caged. There should be political emancipation. That is what we're looking at here. And that's what we need. So it's the essence of this discussion, so that people will learn from this and things will get better. So I want to thank you for watching. You know, there's a discussion from Okosisi Media. Expect more from us. Thank you so much for watching.